Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime. The strongest job is apparently not a hero or a sage, but an Appraiser Provisional, which had 12 episodes and was airing in spring of 2026. Synopsis on any list. Hibiki, a high school student who was suddenly transferred to another world, wanders alone in a vast grassland of a fantasy world where monsters inhabit. All he has are non-combat skills such as Appraiser. From a hopeless situation, he is saved by encounters and his all-powerful abilities blossom. In another world adventure, tale of miraculous reversal sheets burst forth. Oh boy. Now, after the first couple episodes, I thought this could be an okay little isekai. Nothing great, nothing special, but something that is good to watch on the side. You don't really need to worry too much about, you don't need to pay too much attention to, and you know, it's just a nice little show you could waste your time on. Now, after watching the 12 episodes, I do not like it. I feel like this didn't really work out that well. We started the show with a lot of comedy, a little bit edgy, and I was like, you know, that is a good combination. It works. You have the comedy part, you have some edgy part, maybe a little bit of actions on the side, and you have a formula that normally it should work. It just should work. However, we are not really sticking with it too well. It felt like halfway through the story, the author or whatever decided, hey, we need to make it serious. We need to make it a real story. We need to make it make sense. We need more. And I, at that point, was like, why not just keep it this way? It worked fine. Again, was not great at the point. So we start the show with Hibiki, our main character, who's in the middle. He gets transported into the world. He is lost. He has his appraiser skill. He has also map skill, which I do like the concept, but it's not really used. We use it at the beginning of the show, and then the map skill disappears and is never really useful anymore, surprisingly, even though it is pretty overpowered because it shows you more or less everything around you. Nonetheless, we go around, we have other skills as well. We have like a guide skill. Now, there are some of these isekai stories that use like a guide system, and I do feel like that is a good approach, because this allows you to explain why we get to meet certain characters, why we get to start at something like a starting zone, because this guide skill is controlling a little bit. We also find out he has some connection to the gods. The gods seemingly gave him all the abilities. We see the gods. The gods, to be honest, I feel like the gods should have not been in the show. They don't really add too much, and it would have been a better reveal later on to showcase, hey, the gods are real, because you never really know in these types of shows, are the gods real? Are they like just imaginary? Are they physical in the world, or are they in some extra plane? A lot of stuff you can do with that. But the main point is that because of all this case, we get to meet our first real companion, which is the elf girl. Now, the elf girl has a problem with her attire, that her mountains feel like they are constricted too much. They want to be free, and the button has to go. Now, this is like a little bit of a running gag. It happens multiple times. Again, it showcases, hey, We have like a little bit of comedy, we have a lot of comedy, we have a little bit of edgy, and it is a start of, hey, okay, if you go this way and you try to be funny, you try to push the envelope maybe a little bit, you can do a lot with like the edgy romance area. If you are a little bit more daring. And I assumed this is where we would go, because later on, Hibiki is from another world, and there his friends also tell him that he seems to have a charm for older ladies. Somehow, older ladies like him. Like, and by older, I mean mature, like 30 plus. And my assumption would have been, okay, you know, if we go a little bit edgy and maybe harem, we could have a mature lady harem. Like 30 plus ladies that just inexplicably surround him. I feel like that would be a nice little approach instead of always having like high school girls. Something of a more mature party. I feel like that could have been something interesting. We could have also then gotten, you know, a little bit of a deeper relationship. We don't need to show that, but you could allude to that, which could have given the character a little bit more of a, hey, he has at least some personality instead of being like milk bread, which most of these isekai characters are. They're like, oh no, I can't look at you, you are naked, oh no, and I can't kill you because killing is bad, oh no, and slavery bad, oh no, and all this. Come on, just be a character, just have some personality. Mushoku Tensei, Rudy he gets shit on a lot, and a lot of people don't like him, but you cannot say that he doesn't have a personality. You may not like his personality, acceptable, but he has one. And that is why people don't like him, because he has something you don't like. All or most of these standard isekai characters, you can't really dislike them because they don't have a personality. They're like the goody two-shoes, they're only doing the good stuff, they're never going to be, oh, no pervy. You know, Kazuma, another good example. He also has a personality. You can maybe dislike him a little bit, but you can also like some of his parts. Just give them a personality. Additionally, we also have the wolf guy and the little girl on the left. They are the respective hero and sage. They have their own little story attached. Doesn't really matter too much, because supposedly we are the strongest. That is the title of the show. And that is a problem, because at some point the elf girl goes away. They go on their own journey because the guide skill levels up and she is part of the guide. Again, I feel it is a good idea to have like a skill that explains why a character appears and helps us, and why we are in a situation where we get a little bit of a good or easy start. Like a different environment, maybe a city that is pretty easy, maybe people like us more. There are some shows that really use that aspect pretty well. By, hey, everyone likes you. And it's like, why does everyone like him? Because the skill has that hidden modifier. It makes sense. Until the skill is gone, then you're on your own. So I do feel like that is a good approach. But again, after like a certain point, the show goes from, hey, because the elf girl disappears and she is the only real reason we have much edgy going on, because the other party member we have at the point is the little girl, and you know, can't really do much, hopefully. And then we have like, okay, we need a story surrounding the wolf guy, we need a story surrounding the little girl, and then it's like we have these connections, and Hibiki is very important for, you know, helping these guys, and they then help him in turn. Hibiki gets, which is our main character, he gets like power-ups whenever he needs to. He gets like, very early on, he gets a book of medicine or something like that, and he gets like the full restore or full heal. Now, he can't use that. One of the spells, he gets like different mega OP healing spells. One of them fully heals you, one of them fully cleanses you from like sicknesses and stuff. But he can't really use them because he doesn't have enough mana. But what he can do is he can do a temporary contract with some of the other characters, and then he can stipulate, hey, are you allowing me to that you give me your mana, and I then use the spell. So he can more or less siphon mana from other people through the contract. The contract probably can do other stuff, but that is what we use it for. And that is how he uses these OP healing skills, which I feel like is a good approach. Always, whenever you give someone OP abilities, give them a negative part. Something to a cost. Something that is not easily achievable alone. Don't be like, oh yeah, you now have an OP ability. Then the question is, why don't you use it all the time? So this is, I feel like, a good balancing step to be like, okay, you can use these abilities, but you need other people for that. But then we just continue. We have this whole very serious arc, and the worst part at the end of the season, I have no answers. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know. The animation is fine. I don't really like the characters. I don't like the comedy. The comedy is very over the top. I don't like the progression. It's just, hey, here's OP thing. Thank you for OP thing. And we are not going to use that until a very specific part. And then we never going to use that again, I assume. So it's all the worst part. It should have just, in my opinion, stayed with the edgy comedy part. Let's go to ratings. Any list has it at 57%. My anime list at 6.2 or 6.02. And I would also give it like a 6 out of 10. It's meh. It's not worth watching. If you need isekai fix, there are a lot of good isekai going right now. There are a lot of good coming back as well. Mushoku Tensei, Tanya is coming back. We also have some other secondary isekais that at least are somewhat decent, if not, you know, good. But this one, I just don't like it. I do want to mention one other part. This is going to be spoilery. Not that I didn't spoil much other, but, you know, I try to keep it somewhat clean. Now, again, spoiler. The one girl I didn't mention in the picture is the one at the back. She is our enemy. So, I don't understand what is going on. So, near the end, again, in the middle, we find out the background story of Claude, which is the wolf guy. He got injured by his fiancée. It doesn't matter. But he got injured. He got cursed. So he's a hero, but he doesn't have his full ability unlocked. Now, Hibiki can cleanse some of his curses, so he can unlock his full ability. That is why, you know, you need a main character for that. I don't know why. Doesn't matter. But we are doing that. We are in a party. Hibiki, the wolf guy, and the little girl. We are all in a party. We are having fun. Elf girl is on her adventure. And the opposition, Evilly or whatever, she is trying to kill the wolf guy because she supposedly was responsible for his injury beforehand. and she needs to finish the job. We don't really know at the point why, but she needs to finish the job. So she sends, she can control beasts. So she sends a bunch of beasts. She tries to defeat him. She's close to defeating him. Hibiki gets a power-up. He gets like an OP god bow. Bullshit. They fight the wolf off. We have the over-the-top comedy again. But she does not succeed. Then we go further into the story until like the end. And then we have her preparing a trap for Hibiki, our main character, because he is in her way. A teleportation trap. So that teleportation trap doesn't work as she was intending it to, but they get into a one-on-one. Now Hibiki is here, and evilly our enemy has a clone fighting him. Now that clone is strong enough to more or less dumpster our main character. Our main character then, through some bullshit, summons the elf girl. The elf girl is pretty strong, but the clone of the enemy is still able to dumpster both of them. So the question is then, if she is that strong, why did she not just go one-on-one with the wolf guy and just dumpster him? Because he's super weak. He was really, really weak. She could have just killed him. I don't know why she didn't do that. This is a clone that is able to dumpster the elf girl and our main character. So her real version, which is probably even stronger, could have just dumpstered the wolf. Now, there was some mention that maybe she can't really use all the tools available to her. I don't know. Because again, the show doesn't give us the answers. As example, why is she attacking us? I don't know. Something about resurrecting someone, maybe, maybe not. Keeping the balance of the world, maybe, I don't know. She mentions a bunch of bullshit. Then the question is, why is she so strong? She's also mentioning, oh, how dare you human? So she may not be human, but it may also just be something she's saying in the midst of the battle. I don't know. She is serving someone. Who is that someone? It seems like she wants to resurrect her, and she's under her control of that being. And it's like, any answers would have been nice. Additionally, we also, I mean, we knew from the beginning that we have the chief god, who's like a Gilgamesh at home type. He is surrounded by two other gods, magic god and medicine god. It doesn't really matter. Now, he gave Hibiki all the buffs, all the blessings. Now, there is a reason for that. And the explanation is that they don't give us an explanation why he did that. Only that Hibiki meets the 12th god, which is like the god of some bullshit, who looks very much like him, but as a female version. Now, the question is then, okay, are you like the gender bend version of that? Are you like the brother, the twin? Are you like a figment of that god that got sent to the world? Because the god seems to be somewhat close to Hibiki. However, Hibiki came from another world, and these people are real because they are also reincarnated into this world and searching for Hibiki. Not that it matters, because they are in the story for like 50 seconds in all the 12 episodes together. And the answer to that is, they don't give us a fucking answer. They don't answer anything. For some reason, the chief god manipulated the memories of the medicine god and the magic god to not remember Hibiki, because seemingly they also know who he is or his connection. And after this little fight against the enemy, this manipulation of the mind got removed. So they also have more of a clue, but none of the characters say anything. the 12th episode is like, oh yeah, we have the enemy. We have Hibiki. Hibiki is connected to the god. All the other gods that we saw at this point also know what is going on, but no one is saying anything. We as a viewer have no clue what is going on. We just have Hibiki, who is on the way to some city because he wants to go back home. And we have an enemy that is somewhere who wants to kill Hibiki. And that's it. That is all we know. We don't know why she's doing that. We don't know who she's serving. We don't know what Hibiki is. Why is the god so involved with Hibiki? Why is the chief of the gods also involved with Hibiki? It's like, sure, fuck me. Why not? Why did we go down this road? Why not just have a bunch of the sexy women here and have like edgy comedy, a little bit action, instead of trying to have some convoluted story that is not worth watching for.